Thank you for joining me on Their Fight Story. I have Scott Kent with us. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I hear you had an amazing show not too long ago. How was it?
It was amazing. We were in Hutchinson, Kansas on last Friday night. It was broadcast live around the world on UFC Fight Pass, and it was probably top to bottom one of the best cards we've ever had.
How was it, the transitioning from the normal setup that we have for for the shows, and now?
Well, it's a huge transition. We ended up canceling, I think, 3 or 4 shows, 2 in LA, a couple international shows. COVID's obviously affected everyone. I live in Las Vegas, very limited production and numbers that are allowed at the venues here. So we went to Kansas, and we're going to do a total of 3 shows there. We had 1,000 people at the last show. It was sold out for what the COVID restrictions would allow. So it's so nice to be back in an arena where you can hear people screaming and yelling and cheering the fighters on for sure.
How was the environment for the fighters? Were they did you see them all excited, or were they still transitioning, for those who haven't been able to fight since COVID started?
No, I think we were kind of in that middle ground. I watch some of these no fan shows, and it's like you're fighting in a library. We were able to have a lot of excitement. It wasn't a huge crowd. It was all that we could legally have in, but it was a very vocal crowd as well. So I think the fighters felt like, they're back to normal. The fans are there. People are cheering for the kicks. People are picking favorites in the fights. And with the local fighters there, you always have a good fan base, but you always wonder how that's going to transition to some of the bigger names who aren't from that area. But it went actually very well. And, we had the heavyweight tournament, which everybody loved. It was 2 amazing fights. And then Steve Walker's fight was, it's gone viral. It's gone viral around the world. The tornado kick that he did. UFC sent it out. It was on the major papers in Ireland. There you go.
That might be it, and it is. Just like that, the championship reign continues for Steve Walker.
And those kicks rarely work, but the really neat part, did you hear the crowd? Don't you love to hear the crowd back?
Yes, it's better than the fake ones that they put. You know how some of the shows were putting those fake, okay,
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
So how are you doing the selection process for your shows now? Are you picking fighters that are well known, or just because they're not many shows happening right now? Have you changed your selection processing basically?
Not really. We have a 10-fight, minimum of 10-fight agreement with Fight Pass this year. So that really dictates how many fighters will have these kinds of opportunities. We've got what we feel are the best American Muay Thai fighters locked down under contract. So these American shows give us an opportunity to maybe showcase more American talent. It's a lot more difficult now to bring in international fighters. We hope to be back in Europe this summer. We hope to do 5 to 6 fights overseas. But again, it's all dependent on COVID. But as far as the selection process, I think we've got a good chance now of getting some of these bigger international names, like on this show, the 9th of next month, Nico Carrillo. He's a brash, outspoken, probably the best fighter out of Scotland. He and Amy Perney are both under contract with us. They're the best female and male fighters out of Scotland right now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we're able to get everybody in the country and everybody can fight.
Yes, I'm looking forward to being there ringside, or even just in the crowd, because there's something different about your shows than all the other shows. I don't know if it's just the crowd, if it's just that there's not enough Muay Thai fights around, that everybody just loves it. It's something that people crave. So we're waiting for it to, COVID to clear up.
Yeah, and I get emails every day, and Scott Zer, my matchmaker, he's the one that's signing a lot of these fighters, and we're working together on picking out these venues. But there's something about Muay Thai, and maybe it's the fact that you have to know what it is, or people have never seen it before, and then once they see it and they realize that it's clearly the best stand-up fighting style in the world. And with our agreement with Fight Pass, we're able to reach a much broader audience. And all of those stand-up fighting fans that were traditional MMA fans, now they're starting to embrace LionFight as well.
Have you noticed any Muay Thai fighters going towards MMA when COVID happened?
No.
No.
We haven't lost anybody. We've had no inquiries, and that's a good thing. I think there's a lot of MMA promotions out there. There's a ton of them, and I think they're all kind of jockeying for position on relevance and feeder groups to the UFC. Our fighters, and one of the things we look at when we sign a fighter is, are they committed to Muay Thai? We don't want to develop a fighter and build him so that he can go fight for another promotion or another sport. We want people that are passionate about this sport like we are.
So what exactly are you looking for your new upcoming fighters?
Well, people that buy into what we're doing. We're committed to building LionFight. We've become the premier Muay Thai promotion in the world. We've done 64 fights in 7 countries. So we want people that buy into what we're building. And it wasn't that long ago. Remember when the UFC was just getting started? And you look at guys like Chuck Liddell and some of these earlier champions that, would be difficult for them to compete probably now, because the sport has progressed so much and the fighters' training has developed so much. I think what we offer at LionFight is these opportunities to be these breakout stars in a new breakout sport. And I think it's very exciting. Yeah, looking back at how that sport has evolved, a lot of these guys that were the pioneers of a sport are now rock stars and household names because they committed to something, and no one knew what was going to happen with the UFC. Obviously, Muay Thai has a much longer history overseas, but it's still relatively new in the United States. So I think when you look at guys like a Jake Peacock, a Mike Triana, Stephen Walker, Chip Pollard, these guys have the opportunity to be the icons of the next generation of Muay Thai. And that's what we're trying to do at LionFight, is identify who those people can be, people that love what we're doing, and people that we're able to market, and bottom line, guys that can just fight, and girls that can just fight their ass off.
How many female fights did you have in your last card?
We had one female fight. Andy Wynn fought Crystal Van Wyck and totally dominated her. She looked the best she's ever looked. And on our next card, we have our co-main event is a female bout with, we talked about Angela Whitley is going to fight. She's fighting Taylor McClatchy out of Canada. And these girls, and I have to say this, and I have to read this because I wasn't even sure what this meant. This was impressive. Not only are they badass women and beautiful women, let me just go through this. As you know, Angela Whitley she has a PhD in environmental sciences. Taylor has a master's degree in cellular molecular medicine and is a research scientist at Ottawa General Hospital. Now, I don't know what any of that means, but I think that's pretty darn impressive academically. And I think it just shows that not only are they amazing fighters, but they're amazing stories. And I think that's what we need to do as our audience grows.
Yeah, you have some amazing fighters with amazing backgrounds, amazing fields that, unfortunately people assume that if you're a fighter, then you really have nothing else going for you. But it's it's scary to see that not only are they scary inside the ring, but they're well-known professionals outside of the ring.
Yeah, they're not. These are world-class female fighters, and I think the signings that Scott Zura's made with Amy Perney, we just re-signed Jarena Bars. These are the baddest women on the planet, and I think the toughest sport out there. So it goes a long way, and I think that's what a lot of people are seeing. That's why we're approached by a lot of these fighters. They want to be a part of the excitement. They want to be a part of this international growth that we're seeing with being streamed live around the world on Fight Pass. So we're definitely trending in a very positive direction right now.
Now, can you give us a little bit more information on your next show, and how is it going to be opening up to more people?
Yeah, the venue will hold 5,000 people. I think they're going to allow 50%, I think up to 2,500 people. Nico Carrillo, the guy I had mentioned, I think he's won his last 5 or 6 fights. He's going to be fighting probably the best Muay Thai fighter out of Mexico, Tuzo Cruz. Everybody we've talked to said the guy is a beast. These guys are going to throw down. That's going to be the main event. And then we've got the females on the co-main. And of course, everybody likes Jake Peacock. He's going to be back. He's going to be fighting, I think, the 3rd fight. And he's going to be fighting Caleb Hunter out of North Carolina. And every fight he's been involved with has been a knockout. And Caleb is a tough guy. It's going to be his toughest test yet. But, make sure everybody tunes in for this, because if you did see our last fight, you got a taste of how exciting LionFight is. And I think this next show's going to be just as good.
So you feel that your first official fight of the year here was a success?
It was a huge success. Being back in Kansas, we're looking forward to going back. The fans were amazing. The mayor of the town came out and, made, a nice presentation for us. This fight is going to be in Salina, Kansas. It's at a bigger arena. We expect more fans, and we're building to a 3rd show in May, which will be in Lawrence, Kansas.
So you're just bouncing around Kansas?
Well, you go where they're allowing fans, and the people have been amazing there. They've been one of the first states that allow fans back, and it's as you know, we've been pretty much a bi-coastal fight promotion. We've done LA and Vegas, and then we've done Foxwoods, and then all of our international shows, and we've kind of neglected the Midwest, and kind of forgot about. We have a tremendous fan base all through the Midwest. And I think people are coming from, they're driving 2 and 3 hours to come see LionFight. So it's all part of our growth here in the United States. And like I said, by the summer, we expect to be back overseas as well.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you would like to share with the fans before we conclude?
Just thanks for everybody, the support. It's been so overwhelming. Like I said, the Walker knockout has been, those kicks never work, but to see one work like that and just perfect timing, it shows how athletic this kid is. And the rest of the world, I think, people are going to start taking notice of what tremendous athletes we have. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You've been a friend for a long time, and we always love seeing you out at Foxwoods. Hopefully we'll get back out there soon. Okay.
Yes, very soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.